This video is brought to you by IQ Unix. Welcome to part 2 of my desk setup guide series, where we explore all the essentials and inessentials necessary for achieving the most suitable, productive, and inspiring desk setup. In part 2, we talk about peripherals, mice, keyboards, and trackpads. Be sure to watch the other parts of the series, like desk setup necessities, at the end of this video or in the description below, where I'll also be placing and updating my recommendation links as time passes. Let's start with mice. The two primary categories of mice are wired and wireless. Since the purpose of this guide is the conjunction between productivity and inspiration, I will omit the wired category because it's less inspiring, because cables. Before you rush in the comments to defend wired choices, I want to clarify that I'm not against them, since I'm fully aware of their benefits like response time, weight, and most of all not having to deal with charging, but still, cables. So, wireless mice. The way I see it, the market has been broken down into three main categories. The workhorses, which are affordable wireless mice that are nothing more than input devices. The productivity stars, mice with at least 2 scroll wheels and a bunch of buttons to play with, and the gaming mice that look as if they're in motion even though they're standing still. The line between the last two categories, productivity and gaming, has become so blurred that I have difficulty determining if I want to use a gaming mouse for my graphic design and video editing needs, or I should stick with the productivity kings out there. In terms of workhorses, or mice that exist to do the job, there are plenty of choices. From established brands like Logitech to manufacturers you've never heard of, it is challenging to make an oversight given the evolution of the technology. When buying an affordable workhorse like this, look for two features: a good shape that matches your hand size and built-in rechargeable battery. Even better, if there's an option to get a multi-device mouse that can connect with more than one computer or tablet, that's nice. If I were to recommend a good all-rounder, I'd vote for the MX Anywhere 3. It hits all the marks. It has a built-in battery that lasts 70 days, the fantastic 1000-line scroll wheel of the all-famous MX Master, additional side buttons to customize for like moving between desktops, and of course the ability to connect with up to 3 devices. On top of it, it's compact and perfect for taking on the go. Yet, it's not ergonomic because it's compact. If you want to go cheaper and a tad more comfortable on the hand, the M720 Triathlon is the best selling on Amazon, and for a good reason. It again connects with up to 3 devices and offers additional buttons, but it uses 2 AA batteries, and it is nowhere as premium looking and feeling as the MX Anywhere. But it lasts 2 years on the 2 AA batteries. By the way, if you end up enjoying this video, subscribe, because why not? Regarding productivity, and we're talking about Macs here, you can go for the Magic Mouse, which plenty of people like to diss. Still, charging situation and ergonomics aside, the Magic Mouse lives in a bubble of its own, being one of the most underrated mice for Mac in my opinion. With the glass on top and the best gesture support on the mouse, you can do so much more with it for about 6 to 8 weeks before you embarrassingly flip it over to charge it. And then there is the king of them all, the MX Master. The YouTube community praises this mouse because it does it all. It's ergonomic, has plenty of buttons to customize, and the software support is like no other. You can use it simultaneously on both Mac and Windows and create app-specific macros, track on glass, scroll sideways like there's no tomorrow, and so much more. To be honest, I'm probably using like 10% of the potential of this mouse in terms of customization. The latest generation 3S uses the proven design formula of the classic 3 while providing an 8K sensor upgrade from 4K and whisper quiet buttons. It all sounds great until you grab a gaming mouse and place it right next to the MX Master. The G502 Lightspeed, for example, looks like a Dodge Hellcat next to a Toyota Prius. Sure, it doesn't have a side scroll, but it glides like you're stepping on a banana, and it feels ridiculously good in the hand, or the hand on top of it. Plus, with its lighter weight, 11 programmable buttons, and a 25K sensor, the MX Master feels out of breath. But it can be connected only via a USB-A receiver. To prove a point, if you look at this picture, you can see that I have a problem. By the way, none of these were sent to me. I've purchased every single one of them myself, and that's because I can't decide which one I like most. If I were to choose, I'd probably create a mix between the Magic Mouse, the MX Master, and a gaming mouse, creating something unique. The things that I care about are ergonomics, like the MX Master, an accurate gaming sensor, like the G305, I believe it's called, the multi-device support of the MX Anywhere, a glass surface like the Magic Mouse to scroll all over the interface, and no more than 2 side buttons to move between my desktops. A built-in rechargeable battery and a weight of around 90 grams would be the perfect recipe. My point is that the mouse you go for should be tailored to your hand first, your workflow second, and the aesthetics of your desk setup third. If you use more than one computer or a computer and a tablet, you'd want to take advantage of a multi-device mouse. If you are a lefty, then an ambidextrous mouse is a must. I'd recommend at least 2 side buttons that can be programmed for desktop support rather than a scroll wheel, since you can always scroll sideways using the shift buttons and the regular scroller. A built-in battery with a charging port on the front is also recommended because there's nothing more annoying than not being able to find a AA battery while on a Zoom call in case you just run out of juice. Then there are the trackpads. I like the Magic Trackpad a lot, and I know plenty of people use it as their primary input source. However, I find the trackpad slow and sometimes tiring for my workflow. Since I do a lot of grabbing and moving around while holding, things get exhausting and slow occasionally. However, using a trackpad as a sidekick to my mouse is a good option. While I use the mouse 90% of the time, the essential 10% is attributed to the trackpad, which comes in handy when moving things around between full-screen apps. Suppose I run out of battery and try to pair another input device. In that case, the trackpad is also there to help me even if my laptop is in clamshell mode. It is an optional extra, yet not a bad one at all. Okay, now let's talk about keyboards. I am not a keyboard expert. My observations come from the perspective of an average E. Unlike mice, a wired keyboard combo is growing on me since wireless keyboards last a lot less than mice, plus coiled cables are now a cool trend that I'm on board with. In fact, in terms of aesthetics, especially when we talk about mechanical keyboards, you can go nuts. There are colors, keycaps, switches, and an entire world you can dive into for like months. To give you good examples of great mechanical keyboard choices, let me first show you this gorgeous OG80 Hitchhiker model by IQ Unix. Featuring a swoopy KDA profile and PBT keycaps like most of their products, this semi-translucent model shines during the day and especially at night. This RGB version has an onboard storage compartment to keep the 2.4 GHz receiver secure, and the TTC gold pink switches are just too awesome to give them justice on camera. If you are a rotary knob control fan, IQ Unix has you covered with the ZX Gravity Wave model, which is hot swappable and comes with a tri-model connection, detachable feet, and a whopping 6000 mAh extended battery. Of course, the tactile multimedia knob steals the show here, providing instant satisfaction in both rotating and pressing actions. If the numpad is essential to you, you can't go wrong with the classic F97 Coral C in its cherry profile and everlasting double-shot PBT material. This 96%er is a hefty and classic beast that comes in various colors and designs just like the rest of the IQ Unix keyboards. Click on the first link in the description below to get a special discount on IQ Unix's incredible range of fully built keyboard products and accessories. Although mechanical keyboards reap a remarkable comeback, you might want to consider regular membrane keyboards or scissor switch keyboards like the Magic Keyboard as well. Such choices usually have a much slimmer profile and feel a lot like the keyboards on laptops, something many users might prefer. In fact, if you like the typing experience on some of the latest Apple laptops, you'll feel a lot more comfortable going for the Magic Keyboard, for example, because it feels very similar. If you decide to do that, you can opt in for the built-in Touch ID sensor because as a Mac user, this feature is absolutely worth it. Wireless membrane keyboards usually last a lot longer than mechanical keyboards too, especially if they're not backlit. Some have built-in batteries, yet others have AA batteries that can last for like 2 years. And then there are those in between. If we look at one of my favorite this year, the Logitech MX Keys Mini, we have a 10-day battery life. But if we turn the light off, we have 5 months. Where mechanical keyboards shine in terms of customization, crazy looks, and tactility, regular keyboards focus on battery life and more practical features like the Logitech K780. Being a top seller for years, it comes with a built-in ridge to prop up your smartphone or tablet while also providing multi-device support. Such products are great companions to both laptops and tablets. They can live freely, serve multiple purposes, and provide peace of mind when it comes to charging sessions. I rarely deal with numbers, so whether it's a regular keyboard or a mechanical one, I prefer a compact size. If I were to have a full-size keyboard, for example, I wouldn't be able to use my triple input method where I have the keyboard, the mouse and the trackpad for apparent reasons. I constantly adjust the brightness and volume on the Mac, so a function row supporting the Mac shortcuts also matters. And also I care about arrow keys and the access to them, so cramped keys on the Magic keyboards are not my favorite. When you look for a keyboard, look for one tailored to your workflow first, your connectivity second, your tactile preferences third, and aesthetics fourth. If you deal with numbers, get one with a numpad, knowing there are more compact choices than a full-size keyboard like the F97 I showed you earlier. If you don't use the function row that much and are keen to try a compact keyboard, you can think in the direction of a 60% keyboard where you have no function row. If you've never used a mechanical keyboard, get a pre-built one, even if you don't understand how the various switches work, just to see if you're comfortable with it. If your hands and fingers get tired quickly, stick to a low-profile keyboard as it is not so taxing on your hand nerves if you have inflammations. Whatever keyboard, mouse or trackpad combo you go for, try and color match it. It's fun and inspiring, and as we all know, inspiration leads to motivation, progress and success. If you enjoyed this video, check out my previously released desk setup necessities guide, which discusses monitor arms, desk shelves and organization. Like and subscribe to the channel as well as my newsletter. And as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. This is E, over and out.